One thing was for sh- one thing was for sure. He couldn't keep this up forever. With the power the monarch absorbed, he was mortal and vulnerable. However, he used the sense of dread in order to fight with more determination. Damek was nowhere to be seen, but Hal hoped that he was still alive. There was some there were so many there were so many suits of armor that it was impossible to keep track. One stray arrow, one thrown dagger, one sneak attack, and it was over. As he punched through the suits of armor, he finally saw an ally. Changing the direction of his assault, he fought his way toward them. Greeting him with a smile, it was a relief to see a friendly face once again.
Hal, watch out!
Vivian jumps behind Hal, taking out a suit that was sneaking up on him. Thanking his ally, Hal responded by doing the same, but behind Vivian. No matter where they stood, there was always an enemy in pursuit. Arrows fly overhead every few seconds. The enemy archers were skilled. Hal couldn't see them. Hal couldn't see, but he knew that those arrows hit home on his allies. With his back pressed against Vivian, their rears are finally protected.
Vivian, status report. How are your men doing?
Not good, last time I checked. There's just too many of them, Hal. All we can do is wait for that bell to ring.
And if it doesn't?
Vivian lunges forward, taking out several suits of armor. Then, a moment later, he presses his back against Hal again.
Then this is it for us.
The despair in his voice was clear. They could keep fighting, but things were looking bad. Even if each man killed 100 suits, they would still be outnumbered. Hal shakes his head, freeing himself from the onslaught of ash. The library, still ablaze, rained remnants of the monarchy upon them. The honor guard seemed unimpressed by this, but not the rebellion. It was almost as if when the suits fought together, they shared one mind. This caused them to be weak on their own, but formidable as a group. However, it meant that the more they killed, the weaker their enemy became.
Vivian, do not give up so easily. You are set to rule the strongest nation in the world. We cannot have you return home with stories of lost hope.
As they talk, they keep fighting. The enemy never lets up for a second.
Then we better find it again. And fast.
Arrows fly through the air once more, and screams fill the air. They knew their forces were dying. The suits had no need to scream. Hal wasn't even sure if they felt pain or feared their own demise. And he wondered if those things would be a weakness or a strength. His knuckles become bloody and cracked as they fight for their lives. They continued to protect each other, fighting as if they were one body.
We need to change up our strategy. If we don't, then they'll outsmart us.
Vivian didn't respond.
Vivian?
Hal turns around to look and Vivian falls limp on the ground. A small legion of arrows found their home in his body. There's nothing he can do. The shots were fatal. With unseen archers targeting his location, he needed to run. He's vulnerable from every single angle, and he had no choice but to fight. He looks around frantically to find the archers, but it's no use. All he can do is face the enemy and his fate head on. Charging into the crowd with a scream, rage wells up within him. There are no allies to be seen, just target after target waiting to be killed. And that's what happens next. He shatters the enemies like weak glass. They fall to the ground, leaving a trail of carnage in his wake. He had killed more than his fair share, and still went on. Eventually, a barrage of arrows assaults him. Piercing through his torso, it causes him to grunt in immense pain. He does his best to shake it off, but it's almost too much to bear. Now that the excess spirits were removed from his body, he was mortal. Because of that, he lets the arrows stay inside of his body. Pulling them out would be nothing short but of a death sentence. But so too was rushing headfirst into a horde of those suits. All of a sudden, it's harder for him to keep track of everything happening. Confusion sets in, and he starts longing for his ally to return and help him. But even if they did come back, they would arrive a moment too late. He turns around, looking for more enemies, and one is right there. They thrust their longsword deep in his gut, and he stumbles back. But then he quickly lunges forward, destroying the suit with a harsh punch. More suits crumble down around him, and miraculously, he's still fighting. It was miraculous that he was still standing. He fought on with fervor. However, the archers from before were preparing another shot. Moments later, his back is full of arrows as they hit their target. His body starts to feel numb, and he falls to his knees with a cry. The honor guards surround him, and he's too weak to fight back. In his current state, all he could do was stand his ground and seek mercy. Yet, he chooses not to. He'd never accepted defeat without putting up a fight. He takes out a few more suits before they start to fight back. Perhaps they were giving him a chance to surrender and accept death. However, such an opportunity has passed, and swords soon assault him. They work quick, covering Hal's entire body with wounds. He falls down on the ground, trembling from the intense pain. Blood pools around him, spilling until there's nothing left to spill. Then the honor guard walks away, realizing they had won. Hal lays there, looking up at the sky and the steadily falling ash. It covers him, and he becomes one with the remnants of his people. Fortane pants heavily, panicking with an arrow in his side. He knew that if he pulled it out, things would only get worse. It would be best to keep it inside until he could find some help. It wouldn't be fatal, so that gave him a great relief on its own. Hiding in a spare room, he found he needed to take a breather. It was perfect timing, as suits started to scurry around outside.
It can't be too far away. How high up does this castle even go?
He shakes his head, realizing there was only one way to find out. But as he goes to sneak out of the room, he bumps into a table. A bottle of wine falls off to the side and shatters with an echo. His entire body tenses up as he hears the honor guard stop moving. He runs to the other side of the room and hides behind a curtain. It would have been easy to sneak around them, if not for the wine. Now, every single suit of armor in that hallway would know he's here. He remains as still as possible, as one of them enters the room to scout. The suit kneels down to inspect the broken glass, then looks over to the curtain. His cover was blown. He made a small trail of wine with his footsteps. He holds his breath as the suit of armor makes its way to his location. Then A few moments later, it plunges its sword right into the curtain. Fortame dodges to the left, then rips the curtain down from the wall. Wrapping it around the suit of armor, he has it in a strong chokehold. He hesitates for a few moments and then snaps his enemy's neck. What neck? The suit crumbles but has nowhere to fall, being held together by the curtain. He slowly rests it on the ground. This was his first real fight, his first kill. If he survived to ring that bell, he knew he would never be the same. He slowly unravels the curtain and grabs the sword belonging to the suit. As soon as he does, more of them enter the room to check up on their ally. Fortame wondered if they felt emotion, if they would mourn the suit he killed. They drew their swords, but Fortame wasn't sure what prompted it. Anger at their dead ally, or perhaps blind loyalty to the triumvirate? He would never know, and in that moment he realized it was for the best. Sword clashed against sword as he fought for his life. But not just his, almost everybody else's life were at stake too. They were relying on him to ring that bell, and he couldn't let them down. All he had to do was survive. When we get inside the castle, I notice that it's completely empty. Pro must have been successful, otherwise this place would be full. I'm thankful but unable to find happiness, not after losing the lesser. Sure, I didn't see her final moments, but she was dead. There's no way somebody could survive an attack like that. My friend, one of my first friends. I'm in complete disbelief.
Hey, snap out of it. We need you in good shape. I know what you saw out there, but she could still be alive. If we just stand here moping, then we might as well surrender.
I shake my head. He was wrong, and I knew it. Valessa was dead, and I had to learn to accept that. I start walking toward the stairs, wanting nothing but revenge.
Hey, not so fast. You should let me take point. I know the layout of this castle and where to go. It gets a bit confusing up there. Trust me on that.
Confusing? How so?
Lots of stairs. I hope you're okay with that. And be careful. We don't want to fall into a trap. This place is massive. It would be easy to ambush us.
Not a second later, somebody enters the room from the opposite side. It's that man from our HQ, the one with Sophie clad in white and gold. He descends the stairs, laughing at us. A horde of suits follows.
Ambush? No, I don't play cheap, not like Sophie. I'd merely like to call this a welcoming party of sorts. An ambush is unexpected. Surely you knew I'd be here.
I unsheath my blade and hold it out toward our enemy. There was no time to argue semantics with the likes of him. But as if to guard me, Ulrich and Zoe step up, getting in the way.
Halen, don't you think it's time you gave up? You've been bound to their will, following orders for so long. Let us remove that curse. We can give you your freedom back.
Clearly an act. Zoe wanted Halen dead. That, and he could never agree. He was under their thrall. A moment later, Halen disappears into the crowd of suits.
Freedom? I don't need freedom. I exist to serve the Triumvirate, and that is final. You did too, but you threw it away in your folly.
Suits of armor reach the bottom of the stairs, but Halen is nowhere to be seen. We just hear his voice. He must have used the confusion of the crowd to escape.
You stand in the realm of gods now. It is time you spoke with your resolve. If it is strong enough, then you will find me.
The honor guard draws their swords as Halen laughter fills the room.
And if it is not, then you will perish. So do it. Show me the determination of your rebellion. Speak against your gods and see how they answer.
At Helen's command, the honor guard charges in our direction. Sovi and Ulrich are the first to fight, making sure that I'm protected. But I make sure to play my part. I take them down with similar ease. The suits of armor stand no chance against the blade of Exodia. The same could be said of Ulrich's greatsword and Sovi's fists. I'm confident in our victory, but I try not to get too cocky. It seemed like there were almost 1,000 suits of armor here. Though we were doing good now, our bodies could easily weaken. A viable tactic: wear out your enemy with excessive numbers. As we fight, we find ourselves surrounded by more and more. The honor guards seem to have almost herded us to a specific location. I stand back to back with Sovi and Ulrich, and we're all panting heavily.
Ulrich, put away your sword.
Huh?
Don't you remember?
They both look at me.
Yeah, of course.
He sheathes his massive blade as the suits close in on us.
Monarch, open your mind to us. Treat us as extensions of your body.
I'm confused, but I nod. We need to take action, and now. I lunge forward and destroy one of the suits.
Good. Now it's my turn.
Then the blade moves from my paws to Sovi's. He does the same and destroys several suits. As if passing a baton, Ulrich is up next, swinging the blade.
It's been too long, Sovi.
Then almost instantaneously, it's back in my paws. I keep fighting. We're pressed back to back, exchanging the blade with our power, phasing it from person to person as needed. We're almost one mind.
Yes, really gets my blood boiling.
As if it's an intricately choreographed dance, we continue to fight. In this moment, we really did command the blade. We were its owners. I feel unstoppable, but then I realize, could the Triumvirate do this as well? If they could, then we are in for a difficult fight.
Over here!
I let Ulrich take the blade, and we continue passing it around. It isn't much longer until the horde is thinned out. We are winning. This is true teamwork, unlike anything I've seen in my entire life.
Monarch, look out!
I take back the blade and destroy the suits in front of me. The numbers have easily halved in just a few short minutes. At this rate, we'd be free to take those stairs at any second.
They mean to kill us with mindless slaves. I wish they had the courage to meet us face to face.
The Triumvirate must have been scared. I could feel it. In the end, all tyrants have left to do is cower in fright. Whatever game they were playing, it would soon be over. We continue our dance until the last suit of armor has fallen. Though we are reduced to exhausted masses, we had won. Taking deep breaths, we try to regain our composure.
So, up we go?
Yeah.
I phased the blade back into my paws and sheathed. Looking toward the stairs, it seems our next goal is clear. When we get up there, we'd make him regret taunting us. We make our way upstairs in pursuit of Halen. After what just happened, I was certain we would win this. With our strength combined, nothing could stand in our way. Wow, 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 wow. Who builds this? That's so strange. The first thing I see is stairs. Lots of stairs. Who made those stairs? Who invented stairs? I wanna take the inventor of stairs and throw them down these stairs. They led upwards and in every conceivable direction. I know I was told there would be lots of stairs, but this is insane. The second thing I notice is the complete lack of Halen. Had he fled? You mean fled? Had he fled up those staircases? Where could he be? Actually, I'm starting to wonder how he disappeared like that. If he was made from the blade, could he face around as well? I hope that's not the case. That would prove far too tricky. However, due to his loyalty, I know he would be in for a fight. Destroyed suits of armor and their swords line the floor. This must have been the remnant of a previous fight. Perhaps Fatim and Pro came here before us.
Be careful, Monarch. Try not to let Halen steal the blade from you. Remember, we all possess the same ability.
Yeah, make sure to be on your guard. We killed his suit, so he's probably scared. I wouldn't be surprised if he resorts to trickery.
I nod. That was a good advice. I take it to heart as we walk toward the stairs. We hear Halen's voice, but we can't see him at all.
Well then, perhaps you're stronger than I thought. No matter though, I've been waiting for a worthy opponent. I'll savor killing you, Monarch, every single moment.
That's when I finally see him on one of the many flights of stairs. He's slowly making his way down, almost as if he's buying some time. I move to meet him halfway, but suddenly there's no need to move at all.
Monarch, look out!
Almost instinctively, I lower myself as close to the ground as possible. From behind, a massive sword is swung. It came close to removing my head. I turn around, greeted to the side of Halen, so he can move around like that.
Saved by your friends, as always. I wonder how you'd handle things on your own. What do you say? Want to put that to the test?
Ulrich steps forward, interrupting before I can respond.
We don't have time for your games, Halen. We will give you one chance. Surrender or die.
And who says you get to call the shots? Remember, I exist to manifest the Triumvirate's will, and right now, what they want is to see you all dead.
Halen draws another sword, holding out two large blades.
I've never let them down, and I don't plan on starting. You think you're special? That you're here to seize your destiny? No, you're nothing more than another insect for me to crush. You may have made it farther than most, but it doesn't matter. Even atop the highest mountain, an insect is still an insect. A being that exists for one purpose: to be exterminated!
Meow. He charges toward me and I do the same. Pulling out the blade of Exodia, our swords clash as we meet. They meet again and again, the echo filling the room as we fight. His strength is astounding, as well as his speed. I've never seen a man fight with two swords quite so gracefully. He tries to trick me with fake swings and sudden movements. But he'll have to try harder than that. I counter him with ease. This dance continues as we show no signs of tiring out. At this rate, death would come to whoever slipped up first. But I can't slip up. I have to win and to take down the triumvirate. This world belonged to me. I was the rightful heir to the throne. Halin was just a lackey to some power-hungry group of 3. If there was any justice in the world, then I would prevail. Perhaps I'll let that get to my head. This allows Halin to land a blow. Thrusting his blade into my shoulder, he twists it, then pulls it out. It was a wound that would prove to be harmless in the long run. But the pain is so intense, all I can do is stand there, stiff and motionless. My blood drips to the floor and I take a few steps back, losing balance.
Monarch!
Sovi lunges forward and pushes me to the ground. Phasing the blade into his hands, he blocks Halin's next attack. I bleed on the floor as I watch Sovi fight his former apprentice.
There's something different about you, Sovi. Where was this passion when we worked together?
Swords continue to clash and Halin is right. I've never seen Sovi quite so determined.
The triumvirate doesn't allow passion, Halin. They take everything away. They bleed you dry and offer nothing in return, nothing but empty words. The rebellion gave me a place in this world. I belong to them now.
You mean they seduced you with flights of fancy? You honestly believe that he is our rightful ruler?
Sovi nods.
Without a doubt, I'd give my life for the monarch. I know the truth of the spirit realm. The triumvirate told me. This isn't some dream or fantasy. They told me themselves.
Halin seems surprised, as if he still trusts Sovi.
You mean?
Yes, that's what they told me before we left from Azeo. It's why I didn't kill the monarch when I had the chance. I told myself I'd never harm those in charge of this world. That's what separates the both of us, Halin. My loyalty is to Alestia. Yours is to the triumvirate. They made you a slave with no choice but to obey.
No, I want to serve them. Your faith was challenged and you gave up. I'm not that weak. I stand tall and remain in line.
Sovi lowers the blade, signaling his intent to stop fighting.
Then let the monarch remove the curse they've put on you. If you still want to serve them, then we can continue to fight. And if not, then you'll realize that you were wrong all along.
Halin reacts with anger to that last part and charges towards Sovi. They're fighting again, just when the things started to turn around.
No, I'm not wrong. I'll never give up, Sovi. Never. If you want to pay with your life, then I'll accept that toll. But know this. It brings me no pleasure to...
And a moment later, Sovi thrusts the blade through Halin's gut. Sovi looks horrified as he harms his former apprentice and friend. No turning back. This was the exact moment his defection was complete.
Sovi.
Halin grunts in pain as Sovi removes the blade. A horrific wound, but I don't think it would be enough. Created from the blade, Halin was surely resilient.
Halin, I'm sorry. I didn't want it to be this way.
I can hear such sadness in his voice. He's conflicted. Looking down at the floor, Sophie shakes as he watches Helin bleed out. A moment later, he falls forward and Sophie catches him in his arms. On the verge of tears, Sophie turns Helin around. Lowering him on the ground, he puts him in a strong chokehold. Helin struggles, trying to escape, but the wound rendered him too weak.
Monarch, do something! I don't care what it is, just do it!
I look over at Ulrich and he watches in shock. I know that wound wouldn't kill Helin, just temporarily incapacitate him. Sophie must have known, but the sight and what he did was still too much for him. There's no way Helin could fight back now. I could kill him with no difficulty at all, but I could also save him. If I removed the curse on his mind, maybe he would serve our cause instead. But was that worth the risk? Something tells me I don't have much time to decide. If Zoe held him like that for too long, he would be dead for sure. What should I do? And this decision you will see next time. No, it's a joke. Liberty! Oh, sweet liberty. Yeah, I agree on that. Liberate Helin. I had to liberate Helin. I had to let him survive and give him a chance. If he still chose to oppose us, then we could execute him after the war. Yay, guillotine time! But as long as his conversion was a possibility, I had to take the chance. I tell Sophie to release the chokehold, but hold Helin in place. He obeys without hesitation, and I slowly make my way over to him. Pressing the blade against Helin's chest, I ask it to forgive him. I ask it to give him his freedom. A few seconds later, Helin falls to the ground, unconscious. I have him carried over to a safe spot where he could recover in silence. If and when he woke up, I hoped that it would be as a new, smart man. With that out of the way, we had to make our way up those stairs. Within a few more minutes, I would be face to face with our enemy. It was time to rise to the challenge and change this world.
You know what? I'll stay behind. Pro and Fortum should be at the atrium any minute now. I want to make sure I'm there to greet them and fill them in.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's not my place to face the Triumvirate. Not again. This fight belongs to the both of you. So go and see it through.
We both nod at him and as he makes his way back to the atrium. On his way out, he picks up a sword from the ground. Sophie scoffs and does the same thing soon after.
A good idea, actually. Something tells me we'll be fighting even more. Say, can you do me one favor before we head up?
I nod.
Here. Just trust me.
He reaches behind me and adjusts my scabbard. I'm not sure why, but he switches it to the other side. I'm not left-handed, so that only made things awkward. But I choose to trust him.
Thank you.
And a second later, we are making our way up the stairs. All we had to do was dethrone the Triumvirate. Simple enough, right? After that, I would meet my friends in the atrium, at least the ones that survive. never stops. Damek fights for his life in the town square, surrounded by suits of armor. He's lost sight of all of his allies and is unable to tell if they are even still alive. Still, he fights on. He'd never give up, not when he's this close to the end. That bell would surely ring any minute and bring an end to the war. If the monarch followed through, then this world belonged to them. This is the fact that kept him fighting, even as his hope was lost. Fatigue started to settle in, making him move slower. As suits of armor fell, so did the strength and resolve. He was surrounded, fighting in every direction.
Come on, 14, we can't hold the town square forever.
And just then, an arrow pierced through his shoulder. He stumbles back and falls on his knees before pushing it out. His pain was minuscule compared to what he felt back in Mazeo. Rising up, he starts to fight with anger as well as determination. In a rage, he takes down the suits of armor even faster than before. Another arrow pierces his upper body, but nothing could stop him now. Keeping this arrow in, he grabs another sword that lay on the ground. Fighting with two of them, he's able to guard himself more efficiently. The suits of armor are arriving faster than he can kill them, however. Soon enough, he was surrounded by more suits than he could ever hope to kill. With no allies around him to come to his aid, he knew that things were dire. If Vortheim didn't ring that bell, then this could very well be his final stand. He throws his second sword to the ground and takes a deep breath. He was prepared to face his death. This somehow made him stronger. The pain from the arrow only served to push him to more extremes.
I guess it's time.
His fighting starts to become more desperate as tears blur his vision. The fact that he couldn't see any of his friends just hurt him even more. He had to assume that everybody around him had fallen during battle.
Stay back! I'm warning you!
He held out his sword as if to threaten. His paw trembles. The honor guard did not heed his warning, and they close in on him. Having no choice but to continue fighting, he lets out labored grunts. Through his blurred vision, he's almost unable to make out anything. His saving grace is the contrast of the white suits over Balteir's decay. Using that as a guide, he's able to keep taking down his enemies. He tries fighting his way in the direction of the archers. Those were more of a threat to him than the suits with swords. In fact, he was certain that those archers had killed quite a few men. And unfortunately, he may be the next one added to their count. An arrow is shot through his gut, and he screams, falling back. Not a grievous wound, but he's immediately caught off guard. Something smashes into the back of his head, and he collapses. Turning around, he sees a suit holding a rock covered in his blood. An open wound on the back of his head starts staining the ground.
What?
He writhes on the ground in pain and confusion. The suit kneels down and grabs a sword from the ground. It was the same one that Damek had discarded moments earlier. He's surprised to see that the rest of the honor guard stands down, as if they acknowledged this one had deserved to deal the final blow. Damek cries, looking up in horror as the suit raises up the sword. But before they can follow through with their thrust, something happens. An arrow pierces through the suit of armor and it crumbles to the ground. Demek looks around in confusion. Had an ally finally come to his aid?
Domek, give me your hand!
Shane? Demek cries out softly, not sure what's going on. Last time he saw Shane, he tried to kill him and basically succeeded. But here he was now, offering his paw. What was happening?
Domek, quick! You don't have much time!
Demek shakes his head, but then realizes he has no other option. Grabbing Shane's paw, he accepts the help and rises to his feet. He stumbles forward, almost falling back down, but he doesn't. He presses his back against Shane, still a bit delirious. But his friend supports him as he draws a set of daggers. Confusion assails Demek as everything was happening so fast.
There. We're even now.
Demek nods.
So what do you say, Domek? Fight? Just like old times?
Demek nods again, and he raises his sword. A moment later, they both charge toward the suits of armor. Like a team and like friends, they fight together once more.
Just keep it up, Domek. I'll patch you up as soon as we're safe.
Shane, talk to me. Why are you doing this?
But Shane doesn't answer, at least not before the bell is rung. A loud ringing fills the air, delivering the sound of hope to Damek's ears. Fortame had achieved his goal. That means his allies still lived. Damek goes to keep fighting, but Shane holds him back.
Domek, no! Look! It's over.
The honor guard turns around to stare at the source of the ringing. Then they throw their swords on the ground without hesitation. Starting to march away, they abandon all their previous efforts.
We did it. I can't believe this.
Without a without a word, Shane just stands there along with Damek. Together, as the ash rains down upon them, they watch their foes flee. Damek smiles, a few tears running down his face. Was it all really over? No, that wasn't the right way of looking at it. Things had just begun. The monarch had to finish it all. Damek looked in the direction of the castle as hope rises with him.
Monarch, good luck. We're all counting on you.
The town square is soon devoid of all foes, but now, without obstructed vision, Damek can see all of his allies. They raise their swords in the air and start cheering. Balteus was theirs. And soon the lives of the triumvirate would be theirs as well. They cheer the monarch's name, and then that's all Damek can hear. Hi there, Ebitsun, how are you doing? But that's all he needed to hear, for the name of the monarch meant hope. I'm doing fine, thank you. Maybe a short info for you, Ebitsun. The Discord server exists now. Below my stream there's a nice big picture of it. If you click it, you get the invite link to the server. If you're interested, of course. The ringing of the bell echoes in my ears. It's almost deafening. I'm relieved to know that Fortame survived and succeeded. Me and Sovi stand in darkness, and it's hard to see.
Here, you'll be needing this.
He hands me a torch that was hung against the wall.
And watch your step as we go up those stairs. If you fall off the edge, well, you know how high we are.
It's just a flesh wound if I fall down, so it's fine. Oh, hell yeah. I nod. Thought filled me with fright. I hold out the torch and see the bizarre sight before me. The walls are lined with gears just like those on the blade. They spin and rotate in directions that they shouldn't. It makes no sense to me, but then again, neither does the blade. The gear on the blade spun in a way that was physically impossible. Fog lines the stairs leading up to the triumvirate's chambers. I was confident a moment ago, but this sight fills me with unease. I've never seen anything like it, and it's very concerning to me. I couldn't see off the edge of the stairs, and there was no railing. The slightest stumble would send me back down to the atrium. I do need to go back there, but that's not the way I would do it.
I have one piece of advice for you, Monarch. Don't let them talk to you. Just kill them with no question. All they'll do is try to justify their actions and earn your sympathy. They prey on the minds of the weak, of those that they can mold. I know you're strong, but they just have this way of convincing you. I'd hate to see that happen to you. So remember, kill them all.
I tell him that I don't care what they say to me. I'm here to kill them. They could speak to me all they wished. They would accomplish nothing. An easy goal to have in mind, but in practice, I guess I had no idea. I would have to find out, however. Someone stepped out of the room ahead of us. As they moved towards us, I can see the white and gold on their cloak. One of them left their chambers? I thought they didn't do that.
Sylvie, you've returned. Were we not clear enough? A permanent exile is non-negotiable.
But you said...
He turns to them and motions as if he's pleading.
You said I could come back if I brought the blade. Is this not what you wanted? Was it not a test?
The triumvir looks down at both of us and sighs.
You think that you can fool us so easily? We know where your allegiance lies, Sylvie. There is nothing in this world we cannot see.
Sylvie gritted his teeth. I could tell that he was angry. I'm confused, but I trust him. I knew he was on my side. At least that's what I thought. Everything changes in an instant.
Everything I did for you. Were you really too foolish to realize that? My attempt to help the rebellion was only an act.
What?
I've brought the enemy and the blade to your doorstep. Even after this, you deny me my redemption.
I immediately try to run, but Zoe grabs my left arm. As much as I struggle, it's no use. He's too strong. I'm filled with fright. How could he do this?
You've done nothing but bring an armed enemy into our home. Your judgment is clouded, Sophie. We decline your offer.
No!
A second after, Zoe phases the blade into his paws. Then, much to my regret, he slices through my arm with ease. I scream, and then from the elbow down, almost nothing remains.
Then take this as an offering. That arm will never again be used against you. Before all of us, the monarch is defenseless.
I don't feel anything, almost as if my body numbs itself from the trauma. But the sight is all too real, my lower arm limp and dead on the floor. Blood spurts from the wound and I look at Sovi in disbelief. He makes direct eye contact with me and then looks at the torch. I'm still gripping it tightly, and that's when things make sense. Was he trying to fool them? I still have to use my good arm. I slump against the wall and use the torch to burn the wound shut. A disgusting smell fills the air and I can hear cracking and sizzling. This is all I can do while I watch Sovi ascend the stairs with the blade.
You continue to surprise us, Sylvie. Very well. Let us talk.
The triumvir looks down at my scabbard. They definitely believe Sovi removed my dominant arm. I don't know why any of this is happening, but I let it all unfold. I trust him.
Thank you, Master. I am sorry for letting you down in the past. I can only hope that this offering is enough to please you.
He continues to walk up the stairs, slowly as if somewhat scared. If I were him, I wouldn't want to make any sudden movements either. The triumvirate has the advantage here. All we could do was try our best.
Remove threats to ensure the continued reign of Alestia's leaders. Is that not what you wanted? Is that not the role of the Grand Inquisitor?
As he speaks, he reaches the top of the stairs and faces his master. The triumvir lets out another loud sigh and proceeds to nod a few times. By now, I'm almost coherent again, and the wound bleeds no more, burned shut.
You are right. Kneel, Sylvie, and pledge your loyalty. Then, turn that blade on the monarch and take his soul. That's all we need. The blade and the power inside him.
Sovi immediately drops the blade to his side and kneels down. It hits the ground with a loud metallic clang, then rests there, motionless.
Yes, whatever you say, I will continue to serve. As the Grand Inquisitor, I have only one goal: removing threats to the throne of Alestia.
He trembles, frightened as the triumvir nods.
And I shall start with you.
A moment later, the blade disappears from the ground, but it doesn't return to Sovi's hands, or even mine. It phases directly through the chest of the triumvir.
Sylvie!
He rises to his feet and grips the handle of the blade. I can see tears streaming from his eyes, sad at what he's done. He's shaking as if he almost refuses to believe that it is real.
I hate that you're making me do this. I hate the man that you've made me become.
Sylvie.
A moment later, he pulls out the blade. Then, with a harsh kick, the triumvir flies off the edge. I can hear them scream as they fall, and then the scream fades. Sovi drops the blade and then drops back down on his knees. I start walking up the stairs, shocked what I just saw. One of them was dead? Now only 2 more remain.
Monarch, I'm sorry. I think this is the end for me. Honestly, it has been. For a long time.
I summoned the blade back into my paw. It was clear that he needed some consolation. But a second later, I realized I would never get the chance. With tears in his eyes, he throws himself off the edge of the stairs. I start to run up the stairs, but it's no use. It's far too late when I get to the top. He falls, but lets out no scream. He faces his end with courage unlike his master. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't waste a second now that I was here. Mourning him or crying would only result in death. I'm full of regret. How could I save the world if I couldn't even save him? That worry rises within me as I slowly enter the Triumvirate's chambers. I have no idea what awaited me, but I knew that it would be the end. Either the end of the Triumvirate or the end of myself. Yikes indeed. When I entered their chambers, it looks just like I remembered it. I've been here before. I've had visions of standing in this very spot. In those visions, I remember walking toward the idol in the back. I can feel the blade respond to this room, but I'm not sure why. It's not moving or anything, it's just a feeling deep in my gut. As I go to grab the blade, I hear a loud voice call out to me.
Stop!
Well, I remember that. Déjà vu? Then, out of nowhere, I see two cloaks appear by the idol. One of them stays in place, and the other walks toward me. Then the one at the back was surely my target and their leader.
Do not draw that blade unless you intend to use it. That idol will respond to your aggression and fight back. We will not harm you. We brought you here for another reason.
Another reason? What could it be? I know I was told not to let them speak, but I'm curious. Assuming a neutral stance, I ask them to explain themselves.
That is a tall order, Monarch.
I notice they use my proper title. In this moment, there was no room left for doubt. Everything Hal told us about the Triumvirate was true. They don't speak, they just stand there in silence. If I had anything to ask them, I guess now would be the time to do it. However, earlier warnings echo in my ears, warning against letting them speak. And here I can cheat. The wonderful way of using saves to cheat. Hee. And because we never know how mean a game is, I make 2 saves. Aha. Honestly, yes, we should just kill them, but what is more? Look, they say like just kill them, don't even talk to them, but it's not fair. Let's face it. It's like so much information is missing. I want to hear what they are saying. And even if it goes wrong, I have 2 saves. Even if they do something malicious as like, are we going to delete your save so you cannot change your choice. So let's hear it. Who are you?
We are nobody, and yet we are everyone. We are the same, and yet we are different. There is really no way to answer that question. Like you, we are simply beings capable of wielding that blade. When the sun sets on this era and rises again, we will be forgotten. reduced to cosmic dust, we will become even less than a memory. It matters not how the cycle ends, only how the cycle began. The ones who created that blade could never comprehend what they started. An endless war of life against death, of purity against corruption. As long as that blade exists, there will be beings capable of wielding it. And as long as those beings exist, they will inevitably meet, just like us. A catalyst for the clashing of ideals. It exists only to create disorder.
Okay. Where did the blade come from exactly?
Long ago, a group of 3 faced an almost insurmountable foe. They were able to prevail, and they thought they had won peace. All of the worlds, once closed off, became united in one large universe. You see, that blade was created from the clashing of conflicting ideals. Life against death, purity against corruption. It feeds off of that imbalance. What they held after the battle was only a portend of more strife to come. We do look fondly on those who created the blade, but we also hate them. Were it not for them, neither of us would be standing here right now. But because of them, we stand here at odds, instead of peace. Memories of their exploits linger through the core of that blade. But no matter how strong they were, one fact remained. They were nothing but foolish men. Men who thought themselves worthy of delivering justice. Men who, with all the power in the world, still remain short-sighted. They knew not what they trifled with, monarch. They thought that the blade was a symbol of victory. But no. After what you've been through, we both know what it truly means. War and death.
Why are you doing this to Alestia?
Well, true evil can almost never be fully defeated. Though heroes of the past stood victorious over evil, it was temporary. In the future, sometimes even millions of years ahead, the evil returned. And now it stands before you, corrupting the very heart of Alestia. But this is not the first world it has harmed, and it plans to keep moving. We follow it, with that blade, and save innocent worlds from its wrath. Look at the dying Balteus. It would deliver that fate to every single world. Rather than temporarily cast the idol away, we decided to settle down on this planet. Our goal was to find a way to destroy both the idol and the blade, for good. Doing so would liberate the universe from this eternal war. But we did not hold the power required to destroy the idol. Not yet. If we could make the blade stronger, though, then we might stand a chance. If it could match the strength of the idol, then that could be it. The energy unleashed in such a moment would destroy both for sure. Since the blade fed on life, we would have to start relying on others.
So why did you imprison the monarchy?
They had planned to use this idol as a source of power, perhaps to aid in their conquest of other worlds. The universe belonged to them, they thought. But wielding the power of evil incarnate would only lead to ruin. We couldn't let them continue down a path as dangerous as that. So we cast them aside, in an astral prison using that blade. And as we did, we created new life on Alessia. A new, pure species that would keep on reproducing. A breeding ground of power for that blade to harvest. If we could make that blade strong enough, then we'd win. But even then, we couldn't gather power fast enough. The idol started corrupting and killing Maltese. We had to think of something, and fast. It led us down a path that we did not want to walk. But in order to create peace, it was necessary.
Why have I been having visions of this room?
We are not surprised, given our method of harvesting power. You see, this is not the first time you have stood in our chambers. Hopefully, it is the last. But to be honest, we've seen you many times. That blade exists unbound from the restraints of time and space. Every death along your journey has only served to power it further. When you got here, if it was not strong enough, we sent you back. When we did so, the blade remained unchanged. The cycle started anew, giving that weapon even more strength. You stand here, the result of millions of years worth of trial and error. The occupation, the rebellion, and even your attacks on Maltese recreated a period of time in your history filled with nothing but death. Over and over, you and your friends have lived it, only to power that blade. When the final cycle came along, we would have you carry out your goal. The destruction of both the idol and the sword is what you were meant for. You may have come to kill us, but your virtues are simply misplaced.
What makes me so special?
Nothing does. Well, at least, not at first. Originally, we hoped our champion would come from Alarinthia. That's why we kept our nation separate and focused on strength. If each ruler was stronger than the last, well, as time passed, we might find someone strong enough. Someone with the will and power required to wield that blade. Of course, it became clear that this would never work. Just as we started to give up hope, those idols appeared. The monarchy was somehow able to reach out of their prison. The growing nation of Valinor developed their culture around this, and as a reward for reverence, the concept of a seer was created. A special citizen of Valinor, with the power of the monarchy inside of them. Even then, none of the seers were as strong as we needed. Until you. The monarchy gave you everything they had. We assumed that they did this so you would kill us. But it would seem that they played right into our hands. You were led down a path that only gave you more and more power. In all of the universe, you are the only one who can use that blade effectively. You house not just your own will, but the will of billions of spirits. Spirits that want nothing more than to see their homeworld freed. There was no other choice, really. You are our champion monarch.
Do I have a say in any of this stuff?
No. You are our creation, and must do as we say. But your actions will ensure peace and happiness for trillions. It is a small price to pay, and we know that you would agree.
Is it really worth all this trouble?
We wish to end a cycle that has plagued the universe for eternities. In fact, it could be even longer. It is impossible to know for sure. Because of that, we believe that no price is too high to pay. We will never be remembered. Nobody will ever know our sacrifice. But there shall never be another world marred by that corrupt idol. And no man will ever again be seduced by the power of that blade. The best course of action for the universe is to destroy them both. Their existence will always lead to those who believe they control fate. They will always lead to a clash of ideals, and it will always lead to this.
Okay. Interesting. Enough talk. Let's finish this now. That was enough talk. I came here to kill them, and that's what I would do. No matter what they had to say, they couldn't talk themselves free. They hurt my world and my friends. I would make them suffer.
The mind can suffer when stuck in the same time and place. History repeating itself can be far more than maddening. We try to break free from the cycle, but only perish.
This member of the Triumvirate is talking so differently. The one back in the previous room had almost a completely different story. If being caught in the cycle could drive them mad, I had to wonder which one was mad.
This is why we will not stop you if you wish to kill us. That blade has kept us alive long enough to see things through. Our final rest would only be a sign that we have finally won. So go ahead, kill me, and kill my master. Turn that blade on the idol, and see what happens. See if you can free everybody from its wrath. Not just us, or Alessia, but all worlds, and all people. If you are not strong enough, then the cycle will just start anew. Before you know it, you may be facing us here once more. But know that we are not your enemy. All we've done to...
I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of this weak justification. I phased the blade into my paw and thrust it through their chest. But like I was warned before, the idol responds to my aggression. The room is engulfed in a blinding darkness. It must be the idol. The blade usually causes a white light. I feel immense warmth around me and hear the crackling of flames. The darkness fades and the entire room is engulfed in fire. Oh, god damn it, it's Dark Souls all over again. The Triumvirate stands before me, bleeding and crying. These were no gods, just weak, arrogant people.
Very well.
I turn left and face the flames, forcefully taking them with me. I hold them there with the blade, tempted to absorb their soul. But no, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve the satisfaction. I pull out the blade and watch them as the wound oozes blood. One moment. Then I grab them by the cloak and pull them closer to me. In their final moments, I cursed them and condemned them, and then I pushed them back into the idol's flames. I hear them scream and writhe as they slowly burn alive. In my opinion, they deserved a punishment far worse than that. Now, just one more to go. As I turn back to face the idol, the final triumvir stands there before me. I hold out the blade toward them, showing my intent to kill. That was my goal. Kill the triumvirate, destroy the idol.
Stop! Think about what you're doing. Everything we've done in the name of freedom.
They get down on their knees and look up at me.
Normally, I'd send you back to start the cycle anew. But now, your strength surpasses mine. This must be the end. I beg for your mercy. Let me live to see what I fought for.
Without hesitation, I swing the blade and cut off their head. They fall to the ground and blood stains the white of their cloak. I'm not sure what to believe, as they had all something different to say. Perhaps they meant to use that doubt as a weapon when I got here. I throw away that nonsense and stick to the goal I originally had. With them out of the way, it was time to destroy that idol for good. I take a step forward and my body is assaulted with pain. I can tell the idol is fighting back and I fall to my knees. The flames are so hot that I feel I'm melting away too. But no, something else is happening. It's not just the flames. The idol is trying to kill me, but I'm not the only one here. Inside of me, the monarchy, billions of spirits wanting to help. It's almost as if they're shielding me, sacrificing themselves for me. I stand up, take another step forward. The pain is even worse. I fall to my paws and knees and cry in agony. It's too much. My vision blurs, but after a while, things return to normal. Though the pain has gone away, I start to feel weaker and weaker. I know that the souls inside of me are giving their lives for this. If I could get to the idol and attack it, I might be able to win. That was a big maybe, but there was one thing I knew for sure. I might not live through this, and there was no other option. Every step I took could easily be my last. Determination rises within me, and I take another step forward. I think of fluffy boys, and the determination rises even higher. My body is racked with pain, and it's almost impossible to walk. I use the blade as a makeshift cane, as a voice sounds in my head.
You can do this, Monarch. Don't give up.
I'm not sure what I just heard, since nobody is actually around me. In these chambers, it would seem that time and space act abnormally. With another step, I grit my teeth. It feels like I'm being torn apart.
Keep on moving! We didn't come this far just to lose now!
As the souls exit my body to shield me, I get noticeably weaker. I tremble with every step, trying as hard as I can to keep myself standing. My comrades call out to me and urge me to keep moving. I start to cry.
I guess I'm no longer the strongest member of the rebellion. I'm proud of you, Monarch. You saw this through to the bitter end.
With another step, I fall right on the ground. I lie there, crying and squirming in pain. My grip on the blade tightens as I shake.
Is this really how you want your story to be told? Get up, Monarch! Get up and finish what you started!
I used the blade for support and tried to rise to my feet. This is taking so much out of me. Would I have enough power in the end? Hoping with every fiber of my being that I do, I take another step forward.
I knew there was something special about you. Ever since the start, you brought us all together and unified us. You made us a family.
I smile, a stark contrast to the tears streaming down my face. With another step, I'm almost facing the idol. I couldn't do this alone. The voices of my comrades and the souls inside of me carry me forward.
So, everything has led to this. The monarchy is no more, but you can still live. Make it through this, and give Alestia the future it deserves.
I take one more step and ready the blade. As soon as I thrust it into that idol, things would be over. But as the power within me dwindled, I realized one thing. No matter what happened next, the blade would be destroyed. But if I wanted to get rid of the idol for good, then I would perish as well. In order to live and to see another day, I would have to hold back just a bit. But if I did that, then there's a chance that the idol might not be fully defeated. It could come back in the future to corrupt and decay other innocent worlds. Was keeping my life worth condemning other worlds to suffer like we did? I thrust the blade into the idol and activated. The blinding white light follows. This was the end. The blade, in mere moments, would enact my final will. I just have to ask myself, what would that final will be? What fate would await me and all those innocent worlds? Oh no, this decision is so difficult. Sacrifice herself. Destroy the idol for good. I couldn't spare myself if it meant that other worlds could be hurt. It would be selfish, even though I wanted to live. I knew I couldn't. As soon as we set sail, I knew that this could be the end for me. But even though I knew it was a possibility, I still didn't want to believe it. I was only fooling myself, thinking that I could live to see what I fought for. I denied the triumvirate that right, and now I would deny it to myself as well. I guess it didn't matter now. I can feel myself fading away. I command the blade to use all the power it can, including that of my own life. No matter what happened to me, I could rest knowing one simple fact. Alestia had been given the future that it deserved. In the paths of the people, they were free to live as they pleased. As everything fades away, I wonder what that future might bring my allies.
Valessa perished during the final assault on Balteus. A memorial was erected near Valinor, and she would never be forgotten. Her bravery, sacrifice, and loving nature empowered many for years to come. Fortem, as the Elder of Valinor, would go on to write about her. These books would eventually be lost to time and become legends. Everybody knew Valessa by name and aspired to her greatness. Though your time in this world was both short, tales of your bond endured. On the anniversary of your deaths, flowers would litter the streets near your homes. This became a tradition, never lost to time, and your exploits were always honored. She was gone, but never forgotten. Fortem returned to Valinor and took on the role of elder. He stayed true to his word and united his nation with the rest of Alestia. At the loss of some culture, Valinor merged with the monarchy for good. A small price to pay, many would say. Valinor let go of its dead beliefs. No more spirit realm, no more seers. Valinor was just like every other nation. Trade routes were opened, and Valinor was no longer closed off to outsiders. In a way, his nation became almost an extension of Mazeo. Upon his passing, he left behind the world he dreamed of creating, a unified Alestia, each nation resting on another for strength and purpose. He never got over the loss of his lover, however. The day of your death became a day of festivities for Valinor. They celebrated the gift of life that you gave to the rest of Alestia. On this day, many flowers would line the streets to your home. Fortem always kept good on his word of visiting you every day. Though you were no longer there, he never stopped honoring your memory. Fortem survived the war despite all odds. His strong love for everything around him kept him afloat. When all hope was lost, he stood up and challenged death in the face. And for that, he was never forgotten. Living a long and full life, he was happy. Alestia was forever better because of him. Though Pro was lost during the war, his writing endured and created a legacy. He had the most detailed records of the rebellion and wrote about almost everybody. Everything you could possibly want to know, down to the smallest detail, had been written. His work went down in history as one of the most detailed records of wartime. Every soldier, their likes and dislikes, their daily routines, he had written it all. Grieving friends would use these texts to keep the memories of their loved ones alive. It was reported that a man and woman resembling Pro were seen in his memorial. However, they disappeared as quickly as they had come, never to be seen again. But the most popular of his writings was about you, the monarch. The world would remember you for an eternity and the sacrifice you made. Your name became a symbol of hope, giving light to anyone in dark times. To Pro, it was important that you were remembered as a person first and a hero second. To this end, he stayed true to his methods, choosing to write about your day-to-day life. Though you were remembered as a hero, people realized at heart that you were the same. Pro's identity as the mole within the rebellion never came to light. However, even if it did, he had done enough to make up for his actions. Many aspired to write like him, but none could achieve such prowess. After the war, Ulrich did his best to assist the throne and serve the monarchy. There was much to take care of, and things were chaotic after the fog of war settled. But he was up to the task, and he did everything in his power to make the world a better place. Having lost Vivian in the war, Ulrich stood up and took his place as ruler of Alarinthia. Because he was Vivian's champion and survived, he did have a claim of leadership. Balancing his new duties in Balteus and Alarinthia, his life was busy and impactful. With your sacrifice, there was nobody left to lead Alestia. Ulrich, stepping up, took on the role of the first king of the monarchy. His goal was clear: to educate the world on the new status quo. People slowly learned and adjusted to news of the Triumvirate's fall, but with many years of hard work, they had come to enjoy Ulrich's rule. Alestians lived in peace, never fearing what their rulers may do to them. He never forgot the romance that blossomed along your journey. Even though you were lost, he still stayed loyal to you and your memories. Though people thought he refused to move on, he knew this wasn't true. With his curse lifted, he was no longer afraid of dying. He knew that if he did, he might see his love again in the afterlife. This thought is what kept him going when things as a ruler got rough. Thanks to your efforts, Ulrich was able to live a happy life, free from the triumvirate. The shadows of his past soon dissipated, and he turned into a new man, truly loved by the people. Though his secrets never came to light, he had certainly done enough work to make up for them. After the battle for Alestia, Damek had a lot of work to do. Going from a member of the rebellion to a leader in the monarchy was a huge change. He was no longer part of a small army. His actions affected the entire world. Because of your sacrifice, the surviving forces were in a state of disarray. However, this was put to rest when Ulrich stood up and assumed the role of king. Damek immediately pledged loyalty to his childhood friend and served his new king. But he never forgot about you and what you did in order to secure victory. He used you as a guide on what to do and was known as kind and honorable. That was his way of honoring your friendship, using your ideals as inspiration. He remained in his role as advisor, just under Ulrich's leadership instead. Honoring your appointment, he served in this capacity until the end of his days. His bond with Ulrich stayed as strong as ever, and they always saw eye to eye. Damek eventually got over all of the fears that controlled him. He paid visits to the spot where he lost his mother, but it held no power over him. Speaking as if she were there with him, he told her stories of everything that happened. And he was able to leave without feeling sad. Instead, he was happy. He knew that if she were really there, she would be proud of him. That was enough to keep him going when times got tough. Thanks to your efforts, Damek was able to live a long, happy life. He served the throne for the rest of his life, remaining forever loyal. The tale of how far he'd come would go down in history and become legend. Sovi's past crimes were pardoned posthumously, and he was labeled as a hero. His defection from the triumvirate and his advice regarding them were seen as invaluable. Were it not for his actions and his change of heart, the war would have been lost. A memorial service was held, and almost every surviving member of the rebellion attended. Even Ulrich showed up. He was happy knowing that his friend had finally redeemed himself. His story would go down in history, teaching people that nobody is beyond a second chance. Giving Howl his independence came at the cost of his life. However, he knew the chances of dying were high when he asked. People would say that you made the right choice by granting him his wish. Many mourned the loss of Howl in the battle for Alestia. His wealth of knowledge about the monarchy would have filled books. However, his kind was now all but extinct, a casualty of this ruthless war. Aaron personally oversaw the transition of his home from a tavern to a barracks. He wanted to ensure that during the switch, things still met his standards and regulations. Peregrino became a source of immeasurable military might, and Aaron oversaw all of it. Though conflict was rare, Peregrino remained as the first line of defense to protect Valinor. Aaron realized that he hadn't lost his home at all, for home was where he and his friends resided. He lived the rest of his days in this new barracks, a proud servant of the new monarchy. This is where Milas settled down, unable to decide between Mazeo and Valinor. He lived a happy and peaceful life, choosing how his remaining days played out. Being free to choose what happened to him, he was never bound by duty again. After the chaos dwindled, Alex returned to Mazeo and started a new life. His treaty was honored, and pirates were forgiven for all they had done. All bans were lifted, and pirates were officially employed as traders. Neda was never seen again. It was assumed that she didn't agree with these changes, or perhaps she was spiteful that you didn't choose to align with her demands. Either way, Alestia would forever remember her as a ruthless pirate lord. Grizz was a casualty of this ruthless war, but his legacy lived on. Stepping up as mayor of Mazeo, Lilith continued what he started. She honored the pirate treaty and helped Mazeo adjust to every change. The created seers seemed to be affected by your attack on the Dark Idol. As if offering their strength when needed the most, the energy within them vanished. When the fog of war settled, they were no longer plagued with visions. They had healthy minds. Because Vivian had perished, Ulrich stood up as his champion. He helped ensure that Alarinthia remained on the path of the victorious party. Soon enough, it changed its ways and existed in unity with the new monarchy. Trade routes were introduced, and its ports were open to everybody. A representative of the monarchy was elected to lead the nation into a new age. Holding a ball every year, Alarinthia kept up its tradition of giving back to the people. One thing was for sure, Alarinthia would never be in the hands of the strong again. Though Vivian wasn't alive to enjoy this new nation, his story would live on for an eternity. Shane was never seen again after that fateful encounter in Balteus. He is presumed dead, and many refuse to speak about his betrayal. If he survived, he went to great lengths to remain hidden from the world. When the chaos and confusion settled down, Halen seemed like a new man. He likened his existence to that of a spectator watching a performance. No matter what he wanted to do, his body could not defy his masters. He decided to atone for what he had done and joined the new monarchy. Of course, many people were apprehensive about accepting his aid. Over time, they learned to accept him and his desires as genuine. His job stayed largely the same, ensuring that Alestia's rulers remained in power. But with new masters and even new friends, he took pride in being on the right side. With the Dark Idol gone from Balteus, the corruption slowly waned. Over the next several decades, it made a complete transformation. Many would call it the most beautiful place in all of Alestian history. Its name was changed to New Balteus and left behind its old roots. No longer would it be known as the seat of the tyrannical triumvirate. People would see it as the place where Alestia was changed forever.
Intermission. I hate when people do that. That doesn't change it. It's the same name.
People would come from all over the world to see the home of the new monarchy. It became a symbol of new beginnings, teaching people that change is always possible. As the corruption slowly disappeared, people settled down and turned it into a prosperous nation. You were successful in your aspirations. You left behind an entirely changed world. The members of the rebellion that survived had a new, even bigger journey before them. It was time to lead the world into the bright future you secured. For them, work had only just begun. Thank you for your service, Monarch. For everything you've done, you will never be forgotten.
And nobody used that time to clean my room? My vision fades in and I feel incredibly confused. With everything that just happened, I should definitely be dead. Actually, maybe I was? Far it far be it from me to decide what death brought. I know that I'm in my house, that much is easily discernible. After rising up to a sitting position, though, I noticed something shocking. Someone stole my pillow. The lower half of my arm is still missing. Could I have survived? No, that was impossible. So, what's going on exactly? As my mind starts to fill with possibilities, there's a knock on my door. At my door. I'm filled with fright, but then, a moment later, I hear a familiar voice.
Hey, open up.
I rush to the door, and Fortame steps inside of my house. My heart is beating so fast, then joy overtakes me. I give Fortame a big hug, and he seems surprised.
Did you just wake up? Oh, jeez. Hope we won't be late. Don't tell me you forgot what day it is.
Huh?
It's the anniversary of your induction. If we don't hurry to the town square, we'll be late. Salus is already under enough stress having to train Milas.
Oh god, it's Limbo. Why? Salus is alive?
So come on, we need to get going. Your parents are counting on me, Seer. I told them to give me 10 minutes tops.
And now our parents are alive. My parents? I'm in complete shock, and I stand there, dumbfounded. No, 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 it's not a dream. It's not a dream. It's not a dream. If it's a dream, I will find Clays, and at any given at every furry con, wherever Clays goes, I will go there, and I will say strong words to Clays. A small eternity passes before Fortame breaks the silence.
Well, don't just stand there. You need to get ready. At this rate, you'll be greeting the townspeople in your underwear. I mean, you can if you want to, but I really don't recommend that.
I agree, Fortame. I will go there naked. Come on. Also, you owe me a dance in a maiden dress. So where is that? Give me that. I don't know what's going on. Am I in a new reality? The elder is alive, as well as my parents. And I've been inducted? This means that the rebellion was never formed. There was no occupation. Tears start to streaming from my eyes, and I give Fortame a bigger hug. I don't know what happened exactly, but I'm not about to question it. But you should. If this was the reward for my journey and sacrifice, then it was worth it.
Whoa, hey, calm down.
I cry even harder, and Fortame can't help but to show worry.
Hey, wait. Are you okay?
I nod and tell him that everything is fine. And this time, something tells me it will stay that way.
I'll hang your picture on my wall. 4 days gone by, I recall those memories etched in my mind. When our lives intertwined, a moment frozen in time for me and you. And just like the waves across the sea,
Softbite. I never heard of Softbite.
wild and free. Oh, how we laughed, how we cried. Our voices echo through the night.
Zap Beast, by the way.
This world except you and me. Though the days can pass me by, I'm not
By the way, if you have no idea who Fox Amor is, he's a musician, a furry musician, and he makes really good music. He made all the music in this game. Also, he has a tendency of making epic sounds. Like, it's a bit of his focus. Oh no, maybe I commissioned Foxamore once to make 2 songs for me. Nee.
And as the years go marching on, the bonds that formed are just as strong.
Yay, they tell me their true names, which doesn't mean anything when you're a furry. DJ Horn? Who's that? I have to look that up. Spoke both? Interesting. What is this mix? Halen and Damek? The same voice actor? Good song, by the way. Steven can speak in 3 voices at once? You had a nice voice.
If you had to let somebody go, but they return to you, well, that's when home comes to you. It doesn't matter where you are, some things are always true. There are those that leave a mark upon your heart you'll never lose. Well, that's when home. 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 Well, that's when home.
That's a lot of voice actors. Some random dude. Yeah. Well, hello there. The greatest challenge in life is life itself. It will do everything in its power to knock you down and hurt you. The only solution is to prove to life that you're just as much of a challenge for it as it is for you. Even if life thinks it has the upper hand, show it that you don't need to face its challenge alone. Thank you very much for creating this game. Shouting out to all my brothers and sisters in the emergency services, EMS, fire, police, military. You serve, this one's for you. If you serve, this one's for you. To my amazing friends for helping me get this far, thank you so much. Less than 3. Evie. Waited to play this next game after the first and was not disappointed. Wait a second, there was a first before that? I mean, not related to this, but there's a game before that? Have we managed to change anything? Just poop it! Like Epitsune, he's always pooping it. Melon and fish, please. Ugh. Keep moving forward. Always remember that even the smallest acts of kindness can make a big difference in someone's life. That is true. That goes, by the way, even as far down as smile at the stranger when you walk down a path on the side of the road, or greet them. Oh god, how many messages are there? Keep at it, changes are never zero. The final curtain falls at every moment the person gives up. Final curtain falls at the very moment the person gives up. Oh, okay. Well, that was a fun ride, right? I'm just guessing though. I'm writing this from the past. I'm really hoping it was worth it and that everyone had fun along the way. You could phrase it a little bit differently. A believing heart is your magic. I hope everyone has as much fun as I do, and I hope that more beautiful games like Major, Minor and Winds of Change come from Clays. And now I know the game that came before Winds of Change. I see. Now I'm forced to look at it. The one that decides what's best is not other people. True. Only you can decide what's the best for you. I love you for the man you are. I love you for the things you do. I love you for the things you say. But most of all, I love you because you love me for the man I am, for the things I do, and for the things I say. I love you. Love you. Subaru. I guess. No message. No message, or just put in whatever quote from the game here. Ah, okay. Hey, best message. Life is too important to be taken seriously. Yes. Sadly, life is too serious all the time. Put some fun into it. Love your dogs. Coming from a furry that has many meanings. Thanks for joining us on this quest, Seer. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for the journey. Also, just in the previous section, there was the actual owner of the character, Sophie. Yes, Sophie is an actual character from a furry they put into the game. Thank you for the chance to have one of my characters featured in your game. Excelsior. Ah, so Lilith is also an absolute existing... it says below it. It's like, okay. Samira is also a character. Every lie has a bit of truth behind it. Q has also... interesting. Great work on this game. Vivian. I haven't got anything interesting to say, so have a smiley face. Breeze. No one is the villain in their own story. Really? Maybe some are. I can be the villain in my own story if I wanted. Rogatar Algus. To all who tirelessly work on this game. Thank you. Drakeor. I'm thankful to support such an amazing game. Yeah, God, so many people. Saxon. Keep being awesome, okay? Much love. Damek. Much love from the Blue Science General Fox. Nix. Hope everyone enjoys the game. Kira. Thank you everyone for playing. I hope you enjoyed playing this game as much as I have enjoyed it. Thank you, Clays, for creating this game and making dreams come true. Less than 3 from Huskers. Westy, and we never found Easty. Find the happiness inside you. Ryger, I love you, Fuse. Pommy, forte is best girl. We have established that from the get-go. Absolutely true. Best girl. Oh god. Oh no, here we go. The alphabet of Kickstart supporters. So many people. Imagine this would be Kickstarter for Lord of the Rings. It would be like 40 minutes of just names. La 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 la. Ulrich belongs to Valleir. Oh, don't mind if I do a screenshot of that. No particular reason. Thanks for playing. But I like this song. This song is nice and good. Oh god, they gave us a happy end. La 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 la. Never stop. No, stop. Well. That's the end. Winds of change. That took a little bit longer than I expected. Yes. There's no exit. Ah. I just have to kill it like that instead. Oh no. A whoop. Yes. God, that's not the best song to put into my background right now. There we go. Oh no, it's time to look at the achievements. I didn't get all of them, strangely enough. Okay, that is understandable why I didn't get that. Okay. Yeah. Well, guess I don't have all the achievements. Pretty solid 5 out of 5 adventure. Though no dance. Yeah, no dance. Disappointed in that. Makes you feel like taking money that you can then throw into an artist's face and be like, look, draw this. See, I'm always looking at the achievements at the end because it's interesting to see how the drop off of players is. And I'm glad to see there is a soft drop off over the course of time. So that's really good. So what we see is basically almost 75% of people who have this game in their library have started the game. So that's a good start for an indie game, especially a furry game. And then it started to drop softly, step by step, lower. And we see that the end, we still have a little bit over 33% of players that have finished the game. In other words, I would say that is a good result to see for an indie game, and I would almost say a very good amount of people to see finishing a furry game. So that's good. Glad to see that. What would I say? I would say this game is solid. Like, really. Like, I played a good amount of visual novel games, but it's not like the main focus of games I focus on. But I enjoy good visual novel games, and I would put this into the shoes of good visual games. Like, it's even more so impressive. You know, it's one thing. It's like you can make a game as an indie studio, but as we can know and understand, like furry games on the other hand have often like a bit more to fight when they are released, like just because it's furry. And a lot of people have this unjustified dumb attitude towards anything that is furry. So the uphill battle is also a bit more steep for someone who making a furry game, but doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Please do make more furry games. Thank you. It's welcome. So I say, like, yeah, as a visual novel game, I really, really enjoyed it. You don't have to be a furry to enjoy this game. So, but as a furry, I say, like, it is an additional bonus on top of everything. So, yeah, I'm not complaining at all. Why would I? Um, Meanwhile, the Miiverse in the background. Um, no, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. It's like good backgrounds, but good characters. It's impressive how many voice actors they actually got into the project, which is not a given. Like, especially for indie titles, like you can never actually expect like voice acting much in indie games. Among other things that are a problem in the industry when it comes to voice acting. But yeah. So I'm also always glad when there is a text heavy game that there are voice actors because it's easier than me reading everything out. It's like I had this before and I'm most likely gonna face that in the future again, but I survived it, so I would say like I'm fine. I'm fine. I can say that after 12 hours of streaming a game where I only read text. uh, so yeah, I'm always glad to see voice acting And it's not even like mediocre voice acting or anything. It's like it's good, solid voice acting. You cannot really complain at all. I would be surprised if you would. Like, it's like really, it's really solid voice acting, and that's good. Like you could have had far worse, but it's not. It's solid voice acting, and it's very welcome. Like really good. I enjoyed that. And also, that is the next thing. Like the voices do fit basically every character. Even if some characters show up and you hear them for the first time and go like, oh. But yeah. So good choices, good voice acting, good art, good story. I like that basically you always play this game and you kind of know what's going on, and but you're always left a little bit in the dark about the entire plot, and basically just clears the plot up at the very end. And I like that because it gives you enough motivation to keep going and feel like interested and be like, okay, I really want to know why, how, and then you get new information, and then it starts to conflict with previous information or maybe new information you just got. And it's not always so easy. I don't think it was very clear until the very end what exactly the entire thing is behind the game. And yes, I think you can, yeah. So basically, from the achievements that I see, you can make it possible that everybody is surviving in the end. We didn't do that. We lost the lesser. And that was clear. It's like, the thing is, it's not clear. When you play the game, it is not clear how it works, right? So, oh yeah, and Pro. Yeah, I forgot Pro. So Velessa and Pro were lost in this. But you know what's interesting? Yeah, Hal as well. Yeah. So multiple characters died, but here's the thing. Remember, and Sovi, yeah, Sovi. Simply ignoring everybody who dies. Like, yeah, Sovi. So the lesser Pro, Hal, Sovi. Um, the thing is this. Looking to our stats, the thing is that we had Pro, Hal, all on maximum hearts. Vanessa got an X at the end. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, and Vivian as well. Yeah. So yeah, the mayor also died, but that was more or less a given. I meant more like people which had the possibility to become a romantic option to us. So yeah, Vivian also died, but doesn't count in that regard. You see, like when I look at our stats, you see that we had Hal, we had Pro, actually on maximum heart with a check mark, and the lesser was with an X. And that was basically because we didn't use all the romantic positive options with the lesser. So when I saw that statistic, I was like, well, I fully expect Vanessa to die in the end because of that. And when you play the game, you don't really understand how the stats work in the game, right? So when you play it, you usually assume it works like every other romantic visual novel, right? So you think like, okay, the people I actually want to romance, or the one person I want to romance, I need to push, and the others I can ignore. But here it's like different. Here it's kind of different. I still don't exactly know what the stats really influence. So it's hard to tell. Like, in the end, if that what happened, what we saw, is basically what is in stone in the code of the game and says like it's always going to happen this way, except maybe, well, no, not really. What if it's always happening like that, regardless of the stats that you have before you go to Balteas? Makes you, to some degree, question why this exists even. Like, the only thing that makes it viable is basically saying like there's an additional final scene to the heart to heart quest lines that you can experience with those characters. Like, that's the only like reason for this to exist then. But in when you normally have like a romantic visual novel game, usually you work towards a certain relationship goal, and it then has like actual implications how the story is unfolding in the end. In this case, it wasn't. And that was a bit weird to me, at least. But hey, that's their decision. It will be interesting to see how this is going to look like in the next game. And yes, I'm going to play the next game that Clay's released not so long ago. But I also know that they had a previous game, which I never heard of. I'm not even sure if this exists on Steam. No, it actually does. What is this? What is this? It's downloadable content. A donation option to help our future creative endeavors. Your generosity is greatly appreciated and will never be forgotten. This was introduced when Major Minor went free to play. This content requires the base game. Okay. So basically, it's also a visual novel. What is this video? Hmm. Okay. But yeah. So that's basically what I think about this game. So I think it's a solid, good recommendation as long as you are fine with furries, as long as you like visual novels with a good story, then yes, I would say buy it, play it, recommend it to friends, other people. It's definitely worth it.